Osun State Government says it is awaiting the response of the National Judicial Council on its petition written against the state chief judge. The State Commissioner for Information, Kolapo Alimi, said the government is baffled on how the matter has become subject of discussion. TVC News correspondent Rafi Hamid reports.
It's now 5 days after Justice Adepeluju was suspended as the state chief judge. On Monday, the State House of Assembly also issued a statement absolving itself of usurpation of powers of the National Judicial Council. The Assembly also listed some of the allegations leveled against the suspended chief judge to include diversion of funds for the State Judiciary Library, diversion of the robe allowance of a brother judge running to about 5 million naira, diversion of the proceeds recovered from the convicted armed robbers of Ikirun robbery, among others.
Let her wait the decision of NJC over the matter. The woman is not a saint. She's not an angel. She's a human being like all of us. So it's not an infallible person. So for whatever reasons, we should allow due process to take its full course.
Nobody, including governor or House of Assembly, has any right under the law or power to punish any judicial officer, including a CJ. So it's only the NJC that can investigate any allegation against a serving judicial officer, including the CJ, recommend appropriate punishment for the CJ and any other judicial officer. So anything apart from that is a charade.
The State Commissioner for Information and Public Enlightenment, Kolapo Alimi, said the governor will not take any action in violation of the Constitution.
The executive has done what is expected of the executive by sending it to the NJC. So I won't be in the best position to speak for the House, but I strongly believe what is expected of the governor as the head of the governor has done it, and nobody has been sworn in, and we are awaiting the response of the NJC.
Meanwhile, judicial activities remain paralyzed at the State High Court for the second day following a protest on Monday by the Judiciary Staff Union over their welfare. Rafi Hamid, TVC News, Osogbo.
I'm being joined on the news by a legal practitioner, senior advocate of Nigeria, Oladipo Olashope, who's also counsel to Osun State Chief Judge, and we're discussing the latest on the suspension. Thank you for joining us. What really is your response to the Speaker's position that this is not a case of usurping the constitutional role of the NJC, but of fighting corruption?
Well, the Constitution is talking about has laid down principles under which the Chief Judge can be removed. Those laid down principles in the Constitution have not been followed. So I don't see how they are telling me now that they followed what the Constitution said. Go to the third schedule to the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, paragraph 21C, states how its chief judge can be removed from office. A chief judge cannot be removed from office by the House of Assembly or by a governor. It is the NJC that will recommend to the governor to have the CJ removed. So that is the argument and the reason why we are in court. They've stated that they did not appoint somebody else as the acting chief judge because an injunction was granted against them, against the government, that the government should not appoint any other person. And in any case, the judges they appoint refused to be sworn in. So these are principles and principles that judges are now following, because the judiciary is the only one that will save itself. Nobody will save the judiciary. The judiciary has to save itself. And that is the issue in contention at this point in time.
Well, as it is, the Assembly, if you can hear me, the Assembly has said that it is actually not named as a defendant in the lawsuit, and it has not been served with any injunction related to the lawsuit. So how come, the Assembly seems to be mentioned frequently in this matter?
The State House of Assembly is the third defendant in NICN Ibadan 61. They are the third defendant in the case, and injunctions were granted against them, and they have been served with the orders of court. They have even employed a solicitor who has come to court to collect the processes. So I don't know where it is coming from that they are not a party to any case. They are the third defendant in NIC-NIB/61 2023. The State House of Assembly is the third defendant, and they have employed a solicitor who came to court to collect processes. So they've been served, and they are aware of the order of injunction.
Well,
and I'm sure their lawyer say so.
All right then. But why then do you actually think the CJ is in this matter? Why do you think she's been targeted?
Well, I would not know. I would not know any undercurrent that is going on. What I'm interested in is, has the provisions of the Constitution been followed? Simple. If the provisions of the Constitution has been followed, the court will decide. If the provisions of the Constitution have not been followed, then the court will decide. What we want the court to do is to interpret the provisions of the Constitution as to how a chief judge can be removed. We have many decided judicial authorities on this point. We have Elelu versus the Attorney General of the Kwara State, where something like this happened. And we know what the Supreme Court said. That is the reason why we are in court. We are not in court because we just want to fight the executive or want to fight the legislature. No. We are in court because we want the courts to interpret the constitutions of the provisions of the 1999 Constitution, which are very clear. So that is the reason why we are in court. If they are undercurrent, I will not know, and I'm not interested in the undercurrent. I'm only interested in the facts.
It's a good way to end the conversation. It's a good way. Senior Advocate of Nigeria and counsel to the Chief Judge of Osun State. Thank you so much for talking to us on TVC News at 7.
Yeah, thank you very much.